Hi, everybody. Welcome to Living Colorado's Getting Real Estate podcast. I'm your host, Kenda, and this is our other host, John. Today, John, we are just kind of hanging out and chatting
Yeah,
about what has been going on in Colorado.
yeah.
We thought that maybe the listeners would like to just hear what day to day life is like here. And I don't think your week is a good example of what it's normally like. You've had a crazy week, but there's lots of opportunities of things to do here.
That's right, exactly, and I think, post, over a year for, each of us having been in Colorado, it is different, right, when you move somewhere and, you have to discover not only discover things to do, but you have to find, a dentist, your doctors, ophthalmologists, all the things that you kinda take for granted when you're in your home base, right? I know we're working with a client right now who is moving from Missouri. And one of the things she mentioned was like, oh my gosh, she saw a dentist sign, in the condo building that she's under contract for. And she's like, I have to find a new dentist. I've had the same dentist for 30 years or something like that. It's all the things that you have to do. So yeah, there's post a year, I think there's a lot that we can talk about and just share with folks that may be thinking about moving here.
Yeah, that kinda gave me, it gave me chills a little bit when she said that,
Yeah.
because I was like, "Oh my gosh, I remember that feeling when it hits you, 'Oh my gosh, I'm starting over.'" And you could tell it just hit her, and I remember that feeling. I've moved several times, but it was a real moment for her.
Yeah, it was, and it just reminded me that, we were in Austin for 23 years, right? So there were a lot of things I took for granted, and part of moving to a new place, so, for anybody who's, relocating, to Colorado or anywhere really, it's things that you don't think about that kind of hit you when you're planning, right? You're moving, you're packing, moving, all those things, trying to find a place to live. And then you get there, and when we got here, I remember getting a postcard for a dental practice that was close to our house. I was like, well, let's just check it out. And I didn't think about needing a dentist, at that time. But that hit you, right? Like you're planning for everything else, the move, getting kids, situated in school. And then you need, a primary care physician, and you need, all of these things that you just, and where's Home Depot? And like, all the things that you kind of take for granted. And so like part of the relocation for me was tough because we were in Austin for so long.
Yeah. You just said, "Where's Home Depot?" I was thinking, like, "Where's Home Goods?" So we
Oh yeah.
were in the same family, but not
Right.
quite the
Right.
same. But
Yeah.
yeah, the first thing I did when I got here, because I have moved around a lot, one of the very first things I did was find a primary care physician and schedule myself for a well visit. There was nothing wrong, um, but coming from Mexico, you get sick, you, like, send a WhatsApp to your doctor, and your doctor messages you and says, "Come on over, and we'll check you out." It's not like that here. So one
No.
of the first things I did was just schedule a well visit at a local, UC Health satellite office, and went in and just got established. And, it's awkward because I don't know, it's just awkward. You don't know this person, and you know that you're gonna be coming to them when you're sick and you need something, but right now you're
Mhm.
not sick, and I don't know, it was weird. But I think, I don't know if you've had a chance yet because 'cause you've had a busy week, but I did a video, yesterday about the first 10 things you should do when you move to Colorado or anywhere, and one of the things in the top 10 were find a primary care physician, and
Yeah.
you also have to think about finding a vet, and,
Yes. Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah, it is, and you rely, or at least I do, I think, and many people probably rely on referrals, right? "Hey, so and so, I trust you, I know you, and I need a vet, or I need something, a landscaper or whatever." And when you move somewhere, you may or may not know anyone, and so who are you gonna
Right.
ask, right? So you gotta rely on the Google or on the whatever AI model that kind of rely on, to ask those questions that can be pretty personal. We had our doctor for a long time. The doctor, knew us, so well that moving any of that stuff can be so overwhelming. But, there's things that I miss about Austin, and I think when people relocate from wherever, there's definitely gonna be things they miss. What are some of the things you miss about Cabo that are not here in Denver?
Gosh, you're kinda putting me on the spot a little bit. I was ready to move from Cabo. I loved Cabo, but I was there for a season and I was ready to move. I do miss the ocean, being able
Trust
to
me.
look at the ocean, but I have to say the mountains really just give me that same grounding, healing feeling that the ocean did.
Yeah,
I miss my friends there. It takes time to get established in a new area. I had a lot of really good friends there, and I missed just knowing where everything was,
yeah.
I knew Cabo is a small town, but I knew if I needed something, I knew where to go get it. But you were in Austin a lot longer. What about Austin?
It's funny, I miss, H-E-B. H-E-B is this grocery store, grocery chain really in Texas, it's huge, and I'll tell you, people would told me that had already moved to Colorado or other places and said, "You're gonna miss H-E-B," and I thought they were crazy. I'm like, it's a grocery store, but, like, I miss H-E-B. They have, like, these best flour tortillas they make from scratch every day. They have, their own brand of food, that's the, Mexican food and others that's just so good, like pre-seasoned fajita meat that you cannot find here in Colorado. It's
No.
crazy. I've gone to, there's a place called Marzix, which is, a long-standing business here in Denver, and it's kind of a grocery slash deli specialty gourmet food place, and they have some fajita meat and both chicken and steak that's pre-seasoned, but it's just not the same. It's I don't know. It's just weird. It's like weird that you can't find that here, and then
Yeah,
you do, and it's just not that Marzix isn't good because it is, but it's just not the same. So
it's not
HEB
the
is
same.
definitely something that I miss, and for all the Texans out there, I know you know what I'm talking about. It's like one of those, if you know, you know. So that's definitely something, and of course, family and friends. That was really difficult for me, uh, moving, right? It was my younger sister had just had her first child, and both of my sisters lived, like, literally down the street from where we lived, like, with it less than a mile away. We could just walk to each other's houses, and so that was really difficult. And then, friends that you build, over, 20 something years. Luckily, we still keep in touch with everybody. And actually we have some of our best friends coming to visit tomorrow for the 4th of July weekend, which will be a lot of fun. But yeah, those are, I think, the biggest things that I miss about Austin.
Do you feel like you keep in touch with them enough now? The reason I ask is because when I left Atlanta to go to Cabo, I left my kids in Atlanta, and the question I got asked all the time was, "Oh my god, how could you leave your kids?" They're all adults. They're not like little
Yeah,
children that I just
right.
left, but
CPS isn't coming to your house.
that's
Yeah,
right. Exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. But they all had their own lives and they were all doing their own things, and, I said, "It feels like I'm in touch with them more now than I was then because when I lived close to them, they were there and, they were busy and they were doing their thing, and then when I lived in Cabo, we were more intentional about weekly calls and sending pictures and videos of things that we were doing in each other's respective lives, and I felt like I kind of got, in a different way, closer to them because it was more of an intentional connection. Do you feel like you're keeping up with your old friends and family enough?
That's a great question. My mom, as I've mentioned before, she's from Mexico, and we're very close. And if 2 days go by that we haven't FaceTime, and when I do, she'll say, "Ay, mira, me tienes tan abandonada." I'm so abandoned here. I'm like, please, mom.
Nobody knows, nobody loves me, no one
No,
comes to
yeah,
see me.
exactly. It's very dramatic. It's just
Yeah,
crazy. But I
that's
think
what
you're right.
moms do, that's just a mom thing.
It is a mom thing for sure. I think it's um 2 ways, right? One is, yes, we definitely stay in touch with my family more, and when we visit, we have much more quality time with them than when we lived there. Even down the street, I feel like it's better time spent because we're not there every day, and it's kind of like the saying where, just you take it for granted, and when it's not there, it's you have to make an effort, and so it makes it a little bit stronger. And I think that's definitely the case. Now, on the flip side of that is because it is stronger and we have such a good time, then you kinda miss them more, but it's just kind of like the reality, and you have to develop, a system of, like, communication and staying in touch and being intentional about it, because there's the other side is we have, some friends that, may think we're too busy, or we have things going on that the reaching out, isn't as often as we'd like. And it goes both ways, right? We also could do more, but it's like you've moved, you have to find the doctors and the dentist and the grocery stores and all these things, and also, like, try to keep up with friends, make friends here, make
Right.
friends, and then also keep up with the ones in the back in the I that are still in Austin.
Yeah, right, because you want to kind of try to recreate that friend system here where you live.
Yep,
And so you are trying to cultivate new relationships while maintaining old relationships and juggling them, and it can be a lot.
you
It
can.
can be a lot.
Yeah,
But the
but,
good thing
I
is we
think
live in a place where everybody wants to come visit us because they love it here. So they all like I have so many people who are like, when can I come to Denver?
yeah,
So that's the
same.
good thing.
And I'm also pitching them to move here. Like,
That's
1,
right,
I'm a realtor,
always.
and I can find you a great place to live,
Yeah. Hey,
and
I know
2,
I
it is.
know someone. Yeah.
Yeah, I know somebody, and also, like, it's beautiful here. Yesterday, my sister and brother-in-law are here visiting, and one of the things I love about Denver is just the access, to the mountains. Literally within, an hour, actually less than that. We left, um, the house at 9:30, and we got to or sorry, 9:45, and we got to, Idaho Springs, and they have a new gondola system there called Mighty Argo, which is an old gold mine in Idaho Springs, and it takes you, from the bottom of the gold mine up the mountain at Idaho Springs, to the top, and they have this great, like, it's called The Outpost. It's a restaurant where you can, and they have a stage that they're building for live music, and it's spectacular views. And I know we're gonna be, diving into Idaho Springs and Mighty Argo in a future podcast, with the creator of it, and she's gonna give us all the background story, about it, which will be great. But, like, within 45 minutes, we're in the mountains. It was a drop of 10 degrees, and it was beautiful. My brother-in-law was like, "Oh my gosh." 1, he hates heights. The gondola ride was scary for him, but,
Yeah.
it was so beautiful. And then we left there. We had actual lunch at Bojo's down in Idaho Springs, which is the
I've heard
original Bojo's.
you have to do Bojos. Yeah, I've
You
heard
gotta
that.
do Bojo's. It's so cool, and they have, like, this miners fair kind of going on down there. So it was just a fun, and my brother-in-law and my sister were like, "God, this is so nice that you can drive less than an hour and you're, like, in a completely different environment." And then we went up Guanella Pass, which is the switchback, from Georgetown, Colorado, and switchbacks up to the top, and we were at 10,000 feet. We saw, like, bighorn sheep on the side of the road, a
Oh,
buck, it's just like, all that stuff. It's just, we kind of take it for granted here, but still, like you said, like, the mountains are that grounding place for you. And then we got to Clear Lake and fished, and Hayden caught 5 fish, Dan caught 4 fish, and,
wow.
it's so spectacular, the views and just the cool breeze, and, like, this alpine lake. And so that's the thing one of the things I love about Denver, right? It's all the things you're sad about moving, but you get here, if you're relocating, have a job, it's discovering all these places.
And there are so many places to discover. Even if you don't wanna go up into the mountains, you can go to Golden. Golden is this quaint little town that is where Coors, Brewery is headquartered, and we took the kids once and we did a tour of the brewery, in
Nice.
Golden, and it just feels like a completely different world. I think, Boulder has a similar vibe. It feels totally different than Littleton for sure.
Yeah. And didn't you and Greg went to a Rockies game recently?
We did. We went to the Rockies game on Father's Day. It was so fun. They were passing out these, like Hawaiian shirts that were Rockies
Oh, fun.
colors, and, we had great seats. We were like 4 rows up. It was really cool to be able to sit down right by the dugout, and, I love sports. I that's another thing that I've done is I've taken on the identity of all the sports teams here. I'm like, "Okay, I'm in Denver. I'm gonna be a Broncos fan. I'm gonna be an Avs fan." I'm having a hard time getting on the Rockies, bandwagon because they are situated in dead last in the league. Um, but I kind of felt like because my expectations were so low that everything they did good was like, "Yay, Rockies, this is so great." So I got me a purple Rockies shirt, and I just was all in for the Rockies that day, and it just I was sitting next to this lovely young family, and the son was telling me all the stats of the Rockies players, and it just makes you feel like you're of a community. And the good thing about having a losing team is that the tickets aren't that expensive; they're kind of cheap. So
Yeah.
you're going to a Rockies game next week, aren't you?
Yeah,
Or
we are,
this
and,
week?
yeah, it's on yeah, July 3rd, Friday, they're having, fireworks after, and, we have a bunch of neighbors. I think there's 13 of us going, and we got a suite, and to your point about cheap, like, getting a suite at a Rockies game right now is actually very affordable,
Yeah.
and such a great experience, and that post-game, um, everyone that's in a suite can go down onto the field and watch, the fireworks show, which I think will be
Wow.
really fun and cool, and again, another thing I love about listen, I love
Yeah.
cheap anything.
That's
So, like,
right.
living here isn't super cheap, but thanks to the Rockies, they're still fun, to watch. It's still a good baseball game. But you're right. There are advantages to being dead last.
That's right. You don't have a lot of high expectations. You don't get let down.
That's
You're always encouraged. You do
yeah.
bring up a really good topic that is pretty hot in Colorado right now. We have the 250th anniversary of the United States, and today is when we're recording this. It's the beginning of July, and everybody is thinking fireworks and just celebrating this huge anniversary for our country. But the problem here in Colorado is we had a very mild winter with very low snowpack, and
Mm.
so we are in an extreme drought. And one of the topics I'm seeing a lot on social media is this argument of should we, have fireworks? Should we allow sparklers? Should we allow these things, or should there be rules against them? Because of the huge threat, there's also high winds right now. So, the huge threat of massive wildfires. I think we already have 6 wildfires going pretty
That's right.
actively in Colorado right now. And that's kind of a hard debate. But I do know that different counties have different rules. I know Littleton, everything is banned, even like sparklers, it's banned.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I would err on the side of caution, even in Texas, which, notoriously, is in a drought. Luckily, Austin has had a lot of rain over the last month, but having been through that, right, here, it's especially dangerous. One of the things that, when we were driving up, the mountains, there are a lot of dead trees, dead conifers, and not because of drought conditions necessarily, but there's this, beetle that is infesting, these trees and killing them, and so now they're just like, tinder for
Yeah,
a fire, right? If
they're
something goes
tender.
up, I mean, you could thousands of acres. We have, thousands of acres on fire now, and if we could celebrate, with balloons or like bubbles or I don't
Or a
know, like
drone show, like, why aren't we
yeah,
doing drone
exactly.
shows?
Exactly. I
That
think yeah, these people that will go the professionals, I'm not too worried about. I
right.
think it's the homeowners that, backyard, kind of fireworks shows are dangerous, especially closer to the foothills and obviously in the foothills. Yeah, I can see how, that would be dangerous. In Denver, I think, you know, there's I don't see the chance for a wildfire. Obviously, there's not that many there's trees, obviously, but it's, like, not like it is up in the foothills, where
Yeah.
it's dangerous, and we had unfortunately, there was lost, 3 firefighters who lost their lives,
Yep.
So I think it is, something when you're moving here, that's one thing I had to get used to. Also is that there is a drought and you think of Colorado as being, just water everywhere, and there's not. Water is an issue,
Right.
right, that you have to watch for, and obviously wildfire season is a real thing.
We've talked in the past about what surprised you, and that
Mhm.
surprised me. I came from Georgia, and I always thought that Colorado was green and rolling hills and, the Colorado River and, snow but it's very different than that. It's very dry,
Yeah,
and, there are a lot of areas where it's just brush and the wind can just carry fires so quickly. I don't know if you saw on our good friend Chris Bianchi's social media last week, he posted a little message like, please, y'all, please don't do, he didn't use the word y'all, but he said, please, let's not do fireworks. And he got a lot of heat on in his comment section because people were like, this is our 250th anniversary. But I think he's right. Like, let's just use caution. Let's go to fireworks shows, like you just said.
right.
Consider the area that you're in and, just if you don't have to, just don't use balloons, like you said. I love that idea of 4th of July balloons.
Yeah,
That works.
something. Yeah. Let the
It
kids run around
works.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
listen, it is very American, right, to have the fireworks shows and wanna do that. Been there, done that. But, there's a time and a place, and right now it is, dry, and, I think that moving here, one of the things that there's not a lot I don't like about Colorado. The dryness is definitely one thing that, um it's like a love-hate relationship. Like, I love it because in the evening, it gets cool, right? If you get in the shade, you can it dramatically changes how you
10
feel
degrees.
because exactly, that humidity in Austin or in Georgia, and Cabo in the summer, oh my gosh, talk about humidity.
Awful.
It's awful, yeah, and so, like, you complain about that, and then come here and it's dry and you complain, but, like, my sister, they're here, and when you're just visiting and you're here for, a week or more, that dryness really starts to impact your nose, your nasal. So it's like learning how to
Yeah.
deal with that, and then you have to become acclimated to it. And I think that's something that's obviously bad for wildfires, and then also tough to personally like you got to put lotion on and drink lots of
Yeah,
water. And
constantly.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I would agree. I think that's if there's a downside to Colorado, I think that's, for me, probably the biggest downside. And like you said, it is a love-hate relationship because I
yeah,
could not stand all that humidity. I couldn't stand when I felt like my face was melting off, and now it's dry and cracky,
right,
and I'm
right,
constantly putting lotion on multiple times a day, and I have it everywhere, and so I think for me, that would probably be the biggest surprise, and I think the thing that I don't really love about
yeah.
Colorado, I wish it rained more. I love rain.
Oh, man, yeah, when we get those storms, it's so great, like, I mentioned going up a Clear Lake yesterday, and one of the things, when also that I love about Colorado and learned about is in the summertime in the mountains, around 2 o'clock, there will be a storm, right?
Oh,
And you've gotta be off the mountain, but it was like, we were at 9,800 feet, this
whew,
great alpine lake, but then all of a sudden you start feeling little raindrops in the clouds, you hear thunder, and you're like, "Okay, it's time to
let's
go."
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's time. I
Did you
wanna
struggle with the altitude when you were up there yesterday? Did
I
you
did
feel the
not.
effects?
I think because we live a mile high,
Mhm.
going from here to 9,000 feet wasn't a big change, but I know my sister and brother-in-law did feel, the altitude, you know,
Mhm. I'll never
more than I did.
forget more than you. I'll never forget we had just moved here, and this is in my video yesterday also, but not to plug my video, but, I came right, from sea level, Cabo, like, you can't get any more sea level. Our feet were in the sand, and then came here, and I was here just a few days, and then we went up to Vail with our friends, Mike and Mel, and, we went to the wine festival up there in Vail, and we were at 8,000 feet,
Mhm.
and I thought I was dying, but I didn't. at first put it together that it was altitude. I
Mhm.
just thought, "Oh my gosh, there's something seriously wrong with me." I was dizzy, I couldn't think straight, my head was killing me. My chest, I felt like I was having a panic attack because
Mhm.
my heart was pounding, and I couldn't catch my breath. And fortunately, I mentioned, like, "Yo, I don't feel well. I don't
Mm.
feel something's wrong."
Yeah.
And, they're like, "Oh, it's altitude, like, grab a can of oxygen," and I was like, "This is what altitude,
Yeah.
effects feel like." It's real.
It is, yeah, and that is definitely one of the things I think we should, you know, think about with clients that are moving here is maybe creating a kit for them with chapstick and eye drops
That's a
and
great idea.
lotion and oxygen cans and all that
Little
so
kid.
that, because those are yeah, when you that's it is, like, when you move here, it's that way. We used to go to Telluride before we moved here full time, we get Telluride all the time, and it would hit me for sure going from Austin, which is about, 700 feet or whatever, and going to Mountain Village, which is like around 9,000 feet. There is definitely an impact, right? You got to watch your alcohol intake, right? Because it definitely will hit you differently,
It, like,
and
triples it,
harder.
doesn't it, or
Yeah.
doubles it?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
insane. But also it's just be staying, hydrated and, it's like I became the nagging parent with Hayden, my son, like,
Drink your
"You gotta drink more
water.
water, you gotta drink more water." "Why is my nose bleeding?" "Because you're not drinking enough water." Like
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, you heard it first here. When you, decide to move to Denver and you work with Living Colorado, we're gonna get you a little welcome package that has
yeah,
an oxygen can in it and some
yeah,
lotion. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
all the I can't think of any better reason to wanna move here.
I know, exactly. Yeah, I know I know or you feel this way. It's a great place to live. We love Colorado. We're still discovering new places, meeting new people. I know that we've introduced some great folks on the podcast, and we're going to continue to do that, and just really stay real about what it's like to live here. Not the just the fluff that most people wanna provide. This is not a tourism, podcast. It's
Right.
it's it's about what it's really like to live here, and what, really, like, just in general, what life can be like here.
Yeah. I hope that we provide some real value for people because I think the most important thing you said is that we are being completely real. Like, we're getting real with you. We're not just always going to say everything's perfect because it's not perfect anywhere.
Right.
But we want to be a resource for the good, the bad, the real, the ugly, the great, the amazing, the fantastic, the scary, all of it.
Yeah. Yep.
And we want to be a team that will be there to help walk you through all of that. So, having said that, please make sure to like and follow our podcast so that you get updated. We have some very, very exciting guests coming up in the next few weeks and some great topics. And we want you to be a part of the conversation. We would love to hear from you. What questions do you have? Or what number one thing are you most afraid of about moving to Colorado? We would love to answer that question for you. So follow along as we go on this journey together.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.